Welcome, beautiful friends. Okay, so this is video one of the little mini series as a prequel to Ignite Your Light. So, first video is really about the start of my journey, and I wanted to share this with you because I want to share where I come from. How I got here. I think it's so important that you guys know so that you get to know me and know my story a bit. So let's get started. Um, so I started corporate about um, when I was 19, and I joined a company. It was like a small security company, and a very entry level position, being 19. And I started out as a receptionist at a company called Sun Microsystems. The company that I worked for, however, was called, I think, Barton Security. And so I was greeting people as they came into the office, doing, really small tasks. And so I think I was there for roughly maybe about a year, maybe 14 months before I quickly realized that, okay, my next goal is to actually work directly for Sun Microsystems and move into a role, some sort of admin type role. And so I moved into that role shortly after, and then started going to school full time, as well as having my full time job. So I did that, got my associate's degree in information technology, and then just kind of kept going. Got my bachelor's in information technology as well. And all this time still working for Sun Microsystems full time. So the schedule was pretty packed, but I was making really good money, and it just, I was on fire. Like my soul was just on fire. It was like I knew I needed to. I wanted to do this, and I was getting paid good money. I was still living at home, and I had everything I could have possibly wanted. So, I ended up. After I graduated, I took a position as a entry-level hardware engineer. And so a manager that I had worked with had sort of groomed me for that role. So he said, when you finish your couple years in college, there's this job that I have waiting for you. You slide right in. So that's exactly what happened. And I worked at that job probably for 2 years. I was like a complete hardware lab rat, and it was really interesting. Like I built server environments, I rack and stacked servers. I moved around computers on networks, or set up VPNs, and I learned a lot in those 2 years. And I shadowed a very senior engineer, hardware engineer, and so he taught me a lot of the ropes. And I was so grateful for that and the opportunity to do that. But I realized that I spent a lot of time alone in these labs, and that just really wasn't my personality. I wanted to be sort of up in the social mix with all of my other colleagues. And so I then jumped into project management. And I got, I got certified through my work, through an internal sort of education academy, and jumped into a project coordinator role for one of the teams, and kind of just worked my way up through there. I shortly went into a project manager role and then graduated to a program manager role, which I was program managing these software trade shows that had like 12 to 15 shows throughout a calendar year. And basically I would just travel to, I split the travel schedule with another PM. So we would just travel the world basically for the trade show. And it was, you know, a fabulous job. I was coordinating, you know, all of these like major trade shows, and it was a lot of fun. I got to see so many different countries, and I really loved that job. Like I was so happy there. And I just remember that the economy took a downturn, and our company was being bought by a larger company by the name of Oracle. And I was not really thrilled about that. I just remember this very heavy no, like in my heart. I was like, no, I don't want to work for Oracle. It's just a no. So I had to ask my manager, you know, I don't want to work for Oracle. If I could be laid off, then I'll take the severance package and, you know, gladly go. So that's what happened. And I was probably without a job for, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 weeks max. And I remember being very scared at that time. I was still very young, in my, I would say, late 20s, and not having that steady income. I believe I was living outside of the house, and it just felt like my world was, you know, kind of turned upside down. I had no idea what was to come next. But I knew that I had a solid education. I had a really good experience. I had really good referrals, references, and I had a lot to offer as a young 20-something-year-old. And so, you know, I just spent time looking for a job, of course, interviewing, and that's when I landed a new job with a company called LinkedIn. And it was a startup company at the time. So I remember being really, really excited about this opportunity because I was actually using LinkedIn to put myself out there professionally. You know, my resume was there, my references were there, my work was up there. So I was just super excited to land that job. And you know, that's kind of where the next phase sort of starts off for me. And, you know, this phase one was just so far, like just work. Like I worked my butt off to get where I was. And it was, you know, there was definitely ups and downs in those very young years. But overall, I had such a good, felt like just a really good run for quite a bit of time, and worked my way up really fast. And you know, I mean, when you work for a large company, you get these, you know, really cool perks, stocks, options, like, and I got all of that, and bonuses, and, you know, all of that stuff that they incentivize you to stay. So that was all part of the plan. It was all part of the package deal. And you know, it just felt like I was sitting in a really good place. So life was like amazing, and I was having so much fun, you know, just doing fun stuff, traveling, hanging with friends, trips, and, you know, I had money for all that stuff. And so life was great. And then phase two came. That's when things started to get really interesting. So stay tuned, and I'm gonna get into what phase two looked like for me as I embarked on a new career at LinkedIn. See you guys in the next video.